Okay, let me start today's session. I hope all of you able to listen me. If you fail to listen me, then do inform me. Today we will see the complete CSS, that what are the what are the things you can do in CSS and CSS units, how to use CSS units, and how to use color. Everything we will see in today's training. First of all, let me start from what is CSS. Though now all of you have an idea that what is CSS. Again, I repeat it for recap purpose. That CSS stands for Cascading Style Set. It is used to control the style of a web document in a simple and easy way. When you want to style your web document, you are using CSS. It is used to control the style and layout of multiple web pages all at once. And CSS is created and maintained through a group of people within the W3C called CSS Working Group. Normally, CSS is used to style the web documents. When you're talking about style means you can change everything about the look and feel. Like you can change the font size, font style, font color, font height, letter spacing, text size, text color, background color, then animation, transition, uh, then height, width, alignment, everything comes under style. And this style you can do using CSS. Then how is CSS used? Typically, a file saved in the .css format and linked to using an HTML tag. Already we have seen how CSS used. We have already created one separate CSS file and saved using .css, and we can use that file in HTML by linking that particular CSS file. Then CSS selectors can be used to address parts of the page to style and use. How we can style it? Style the HTML by using CSS selectors. Suppose like let me start. .html. Suppose here I want to write H1. Okay. CSS demo. And I'm going to create one CSS file also. Control S, style dot CSS. It always having the extension dot CSS. Okay. And we can include it inside the head tag, link, relevant, hyperlink reference, style3 dot CSS. Now I want to style this web page. Then I have to use the selector. Without the selector, I cannot style this web page. Okay. Without the selector, we cannot style this web page. Selector is what? Suppose here you are writing body color equal to pink. Now this is a selector. This body is a selector because you are styling to this body element. Now this is known as element selector because directly you are using the element. Okay. Now if I run it, let me run it. Okay. You can see that it gives the color pink because I have used body color. I have not used the background color. Okay. If you want to get background color pink, then here you have to write background color pink. If you write only color means font color. Okay. Now the background color becomes pink. Now we have style it using the selector. Okay. Without selector, we cannot style the HTML document, web document. That is known as selector. Your selector can be four types like element selector, class selector, ID selector, and universal selector. Then what are there? See, this is element selector. Now, last class I have used something like this. This star. This is universal selector. Means it will apply in the complete document. Okay. When you are using star, that is universal selector. Then class selector. Class selector is what? Suppose here I have used one class XYZ. Now I am going to style this using this class like dot XYZ font size 5 EM. I will explain all EM and REM. Don't worry about that. Okay. This is the class selector because by using class name, we have styled this particular element. Then what is ID selector? Suppose I have an H2 ID selector. I have written ID selector and here I have given one ID equal to uh, suppose my ID. Okay. Now I can write the ID, my ID font style. Suppose. Okay. Then it comes italic means we have four selector in CSS. The first one is the universal selector. This is the universal selector. I can also comment line it. The first one this is the universal selector. Okay. Then this is the element selector. Then this is class selector. Then this is ID selector. Okay. Do anyone having any doubt regarding this? For selector and what's the use of selector? Anyone having any doubt? All of you understand the 4 type of selector in CSS? Check this, and if you have any doubt, then ask me. Okay. Then we comes to know that how we are going to use the selector. Then there are 3 ways of inserting a style set. First one is the external style set, and it is widely used. This is the way of external style set because we have separate style set and we use it in any HTML document we want to use it. The second one is internal style set. Internal style set means inside that particular web document you are using style set using the style tag. Okay. Then third one is the inline style set. Okay. Here if I use style, okay, this is the internal style set. Okay. And here I'm using dot xyz and color. Here I'm using color a red. Okay. Here style color blue. Okay. And here I'm using color green. Okay. See what color it takes? Blue. Okay. You have first I just remove this. Let me comment line this and remove this. Okay. Suppose using external style set, I have used the color green. Okay. It's showing green color because I have applied only one style using external style set. The color will becomes green. Now suppose for the particular element you have two styles. One is external style, one is internal style. Okay, for the particular element, the same XYZ class using internal style you have specified the color red and using external style you have specified the color green. Let's see what color it's taking. Red. Okay. Then for the same thing you have inline style. And in inline you have specified the color blue. Then it takes blue. Means the hierarchy of applying the style to the particular element is inline, internal, external. Okay. If for one element you have 3 style, you have specified inline style, you have specified internal style, and you have also specified external style. Then whatever it has the inline style, it will get applied first. Okay. Inline style overrides internal style. Internal style overrides external style. Okay. Got it? The hierarchy is inline style, internal style, and external style. Then selector, we have already seen that what is selector, class CSS ID and class selector. Then CSS units. All of you have, I think, most of you have the confusion in CSS units, but you must understand the CSS units perfectly to develop the website. Okay. I will explain it. If you get any doubt, then ask me. See, first CSS units come in few different flavor. When you are telling about the units, you are telling that how much height, how much width, how much font size you have to give to that particular element. There are basically broadly two types of units, absolute, relative. And the one is percentage, that is very easy to use. First understand what is absolute unit and what is relative unit. Absolute unit is the fixed unit. Means if you change the size of the device, the size of that particular element will not change. Suppose, let's say, I will show you the example also. Suppose, let's say this one you have given the absolute size, okay, absolute unit. Then if the size of the page will get changed, okay, that size will not get changed. That size becomes fixed. Means if you open the web page in mobile device or any other device, the content will get cut because you have given the fixed size. Understood? Absolute. Because all of you have tell me that you have doubt on that. That's why I'm asking again and again. Okay? Understood? Absolute size, absolute unit. Absolute unit is nothing but the fixed size. Means if you change the web page size, the size of that particular element will not get changed. If you have given 20 pixel to that one particular element, means it will be 20 pixel. Okay. Then where you are using absolute units? Absolute units are used when you feel that your web page will open in only one device. Like you feel that the web page users will open your web page only on the desktop. Okay. They will not open in any smaller device or any larger device. Okay. Then you are using the absolute units. To make web page responsive, you should not use the absolute units. Responsive means what? The element size will get changed based on the target device size. Like, see, this is not responsive. But if I open my website, suppose, where is my website? See, this is my website. See, it is responsive. You can see that the content is not means you can able to see the whole content, but the way it display is different. But nothing will cut. Everything is displayed in the that particular frame. If you increase the frame, it display in different way. If you minimize the frame, it display in different way, but nothing would get cut. Okay. To make your web page like this, you must use relative units. Okay. Not absolute unit. Absolute unit is not the recommended unit to use when you are developing a responsive website. For learning purpose, you can use absolute units because this is very easy to use. Okay. But for development purpose, we always avoid the use of absolute unit. Okay. Then in absolute units, there are different types of units, but most commonly used unit is pixels. Okay. Then I will show you example of pixel. Let me suppose here I remove. Okay. In body, I declare a class, a div, and give a class name, suppose wrapper. And in wrapper class, I also give a div and I give the class name, suppose px. Px for pixel. Okay. And I just write I am 100 px wide. Okay. And for this, I'm going to use the style. Okay. I remove this and dot wrapper. This font size I'm using font size 1 em. 1 em is 16 pixel. Okay. 1 em equal to 16 pixel, and for that I am 200 px size. I'm using width 200 pixel. Okay. Means font size and width. Font size means this font size. This font size becomes 16 pixel. Okay. And the width of this particular sentence is 200 pixel. Okay. Here. Then if you minimize the screen, okay, after this it will not, mean suppose you write some more things, it will not change the size. We will see once I show you the other units, you can understand. Okay. Pixel means how many dot 200 pixel wide. Px means 200 dot wide. Okay. uh 400 pixel wide means 400 dot. Pixel means one dot. Okay. When suppose here this is 200 pixel wide and my screen resolution is, suppose see, suppose here Galaxy. See, this Galaxy phone resolution is 360 into 640. You can see that it is very small. It's showing very small. If you open in on the one phone, Pixel 2, it's see 411 into 731. This is the resolution. And you can see this is again small. This is means based, but it is not changing its size. Its look and feel is a small based on your screen resolution. Okay. Only in the uh, normal like desktop you are getting the proper means you can able to see this, but once you open in any other mobile device which resolution is very less, you cannot able to see it. Okay. That is percentage. I will we will come to this. This is the example I am going to show you where we will see the difference between px, vw, that is viewport. This is the relative unit, and em. Okay. These three units we will see: em, vw, and px. vw is the view width. View width is what? In which screen you are opening the page. That is the view window, and it will take that view window width. It will take the parent. Relative is what? Relative to the parent. Okay. in which device you open your web page, that is the parent. Relative to that parent, what is the width? Okay. Let me show you the example. The same example I am going to show you. Copy and here I am going to use VW. I am 10 VW wide and the third one is EM. In EM. Okay. And in style I'm going to use dot VW width 10 VW means relative to the parent. Okay. Width 10 em. Again relative to the parent. Okay. Our parent is suppose by default 1 em or 16 pixel. Relative to that parent, it will take the width. First, let me save it. See here, once I change the screen, you can see this 10 VW wide comes down. Once you change the screen, see, till this size, it is in one line, this VW. Okay. Once you minimize the size, it comes down. Okay. For better understanding, I can use a border. Let me use the border. Border 2 pixel solid blue. Here also I am going to use the border. Dotted. Then border pixel dashed pink. Okay. These three are very close to each other. That's why what you have to do, give the margin. Okay. Margin 10 pixel. From each side, I am giving the margin of 10 pixel. Okay. 10 pixel. 10 pixel means 10 dots from each side. Margin 10 pixel. See, it gets the a size gap. Now you can see that. You see, once I minimize the screen, this view height get changed. And you can see that this 10 em wide and 200 pixel wide. Okay. That's why this is known as relative units, because it make your web page, will help your web page to be responsive. Okay. But your absolute units will not get changed based on the screen size. All of you understand the basic difference between absolute and relative? Go through this code and just recall what I have just now tell. If you have any doubt, then ask me. No doubt. I hope all of you understand. Can you explain this difference again? This which difference? Absolute and relative? Saima, you want the difference between absolute and relative? Okay. See, here the this px is absolute, yes, and vw is relative. Now you can see that when this I am 10 vw wide, this is the relative. This one I have give the width using the relative units, and this one I have given the width using the absolute units. That's why once you resize the screen, see, when I change the screen resolution, means screen size, you can see that the relative units automatically get adjusted. Okay, but absolute units will not get adjusted. Okay, means if you use absolute units, you cannot make your web page responsive. Okay, your relative units makes your web page responsive because it always relative to the parent. See, suppose this is my screen size. Whatever this screen size, that is the parent size, and take the 10 width of that parent size. Suppose this is the total size. This is suppose this is 100. Okay, this size is 100 from here to here. Then take 10 of that 100. Suppose now you change the screen size. Suppose this is 200. The screen width is 200. Then 10, take 10 of 200. Okay. Suppose this screen width is 400. Then take 10 of 400. Okay. That is known as relative. But absolute means whatever the screen size, take 200 pixel. Okay, Saima? Understood? Okay. Then we will see the difference between EM and REM. See, the difference is EM are relative to their parent's font size, but REM is relative to the root font size. Root is what? In the complete HTML page, your root is HTML. This is the root. If you write REM, then it will relative to the particular root. Whatever the font size of this root, it will take relative to that. But EM is relative to the parent. If you have nested child, then it will change accordingly. We will see the example. Let me comment line this. And we don't want this. Here I will create a UL and give the class li1 2 3. Then again inside this 3, I will create another UL. and again Li 3B. Okay, this is the EMS. Then the same thing I copy and paste, and here I write REM. Okay, means the first one I'm going to style using the EM unit, and the second one I'm going to style using the REM unit. Now if you run it, then you will get like this. Okay, then this first list we are going to style using EM, and the second list we are going to style using REM. EM means relative to the parent, REM means relative to the root. Then go to the style. First, here I define the root HTML, and here I write the font size 16 pixel or 1 EM. Okay, or don't worry about these styles because we have already completed. Now here we will first write EMS LI. EMS LI means this is the EMS class. Okay, and in this class I want to style this LI. Okay, and here simply we use the width 10 EM. Then dot REM LI. REM LI means this is the class and we want to style this LI of this class. Then here we are going to use font size 1.3 REM, and here font size 1.3 EM. Okay, one font size I have used 1.3 EM and another one 1.3 REM. Then you can see here the difference. What is the difference? Here you can see this one bigger, but here there is nothing, all are in one size, but here this one is bigger. Why? Again, if you use another one list here, suppose inside this list 3B, okay, again inside this list we are using LI UL, then LI 3B2. Now you can see again it will becomes bigger. Okay, this one is little bigger as compared to this THREE. Why? Because we have used EM. EM means it's relative to the parent. How many child here you have? This is one child. This two are the child of this parent. Then when you are comparing this 3B, it has two parent. First one is this one, this UL. The second one is this UL. Then 1.3 into 2. Then it will take 2.6. Okay. Then this is the third one. Means it has three parent. 1.3 into 3. 3.9. Like this it will goes on. How many parent you have? It will take the font size. Here I have specified font size. That's why it will take the font size relative to that parent. If you take the width, then it will take the width relative to the that parent. EM means relative to the parent. If you have a nested child elements, then it will get double triple like this. That is EM. But in this case, all are same. Why? Because it is relative to the root element. What is the root element size here? 16 pixel or 1 em. Then you are writing font size 1.3 rem. Means 1.3 of this. Okay. Just increase 1.3 of this size. How many child you have, that doesn't make any difference. If you copy this and paste it here, see, it doesn't make any difference. All are having same font size. But in this case, each child is bigger than the previous one. Each child font size is bigger than the previous one. Now tell me that how many of you understood the difference between EM and REM? Anyone having any doubt regarding EM and REM? All of you understand the difference between EM and REM? In EM, each one bigger than the. Okay. If you are nested elements, okay. EM, if you are using EM in nested elements, then each child will be bigger than the previous one, because EM is always relative to the parent. Okay. If you don't have any nested element, you will not get any difference between EM and REM. Only you get difference when you are using EM in the nested elements. How many child you have, that many biggers it will get. That times bigger it will get. Understood? Any doubt? Jainav, do you have any doubt? Okay, now it is clear that different CSS units. Okay. Then the last one is the See, in this slide, I have explained the examples in a clear way. If you, after that, if you forget what I said, if you read this, then you can understand. Okay. Like here, I have used that. The EM unit means my parent element's font size. In the case of typography, the LI element inside the UL with a class of EMS take their sizing from their parent. So each successive level of nesting gets progressively larger as each has its font size set to 1.3 EM. 1.3 times of its parent's font size. Then REM units means the root element's font size. The LI element inside the UL with a class of REMs take their sizing from the root element. This means that each successive level of nesting doesn't keep getting larger. Okay. But normally we are using EM, not REM. Okay. Then the last one is percentage. It is very easy to use the percentage. Percentage are mainly used for width, but always remember that don't use percentage for height. There is no harm. If you use percentage for height, there is no harm. But sometimes your the complete layout get bizarre, get disturbed. If you use percentage for height. Okay. Width, you can use percentage. There is no problem. Like suppose suppose you have inserted one image here. For that is source. Let me see. I have some image or not. Okay, I have one image. My image dot jpg. Okay, this is the image I am inserting. Alt. Alternative why I am using, if the image not supported by the browser, then it will show this alternate message. See, this is the image size. Okay, I want to change this image size. Then what I can do here, suppose you can write here itself height and width, or if you don't want to resize here, then here I just use one div and class image. Okay, inside the div, then go to the style. This is the class, that's what dot image. Here height, I told you that for height don't use percentage. You can use percentage. Suppose height I am using 30%. Okay? And width 40%. Why it is not changed? Okay, height suppose I am using 30 pixel is very small, 300 pixel. It becomes very large. Okay, just a minute. Width 50%. Okay, you can say that once you change the width 50%, the image get small. Okay, like this you can use the percentage. Okay, for height normally we are using view height, VH or EM or PX. These are all about the CSS units. Again, I just gave a recap about the CSS units. CSS units you can use three ways. One is absolute units, which is fixed in size. If you change the web destination device, target device, its size will not get changed. Sometimes, suppose for image you are using pixel. Sometimes when you open in large device, it will get blur. Okay, the image will not get clear. Then relative units is relative to the parent, and mostly these units are used when you want to make your web page responsive. Okay. In relative unit, we have seen what is the difference between EM and REM. EM is relative to the parent, REM is relative to the root. And for your web document, your root is always HTML. Okay. Then percentage, it is simply 40% means it will simply take the width to 40% of the screen. Okay. CSS background property. Uh, Let me know all of you have clear understanding about the CSS units. Now you come to know how to decide to provide how much width and height, margin, everything. Like here I have used margin 10. See, once I use margin 10 means what I am telling that I need 10 space from each side. Okay. If you want to take 20 space, then you can use 20. See, this style is always hit and trial, and it depends on you how you want to design. Style you cannot copy and paste. Means if I have designed something, you cannot copy and paste that design. If you want to change something, if you want to alter something, then you can do it because this is a style. You can change the style according to your need, and you can see that if it looks good or no not. And remember, there is no there is no hard thumbs rules that you should use this, you should use this units. It again depends on you which unit you want to use for your designing, because no one is going to see your code. Everyone is going to see the output. If it look good, then it's okay. Okay. Do anyone having any question? Okay then. Then we will see the background property. See, your CSS background property, there are a lot of background property. Like when I see for that, what I can do. Okay. Okay. Let's say I will create another one. Um, HTML page. and I give the name as CSS demo 1 dot html. CSS demo. Okay. Or you can tell that my website. Here in body, first I am using h1, my website, and here I am giving a id equal to title. Now first here I want to give the background property to the body. Okay, let me run this first. Okay, now I want to give the background property to the body. Then I create another one style set and save it as style4.css, and here first link it, not li, link style4.css. Okay, body background. See, when I use background, you can change this background property like color, position, attachment, origin, repeat, clip, all these things. Suppose you want to give a single color, then you are using background color. When you use the background color, you can use three value. First one is a valid color name. If you know the name of the color, suppose sand, this is the name of the color I know, then I can use that color name, but this color name is not correct. Okay, suppose blue. Background color okay, color why what happened, I have style style 4 style 4 dot css. Let me slow that. Style body background color blue. Okay, here I have used like this, background color red. Okay, I have used that color in double quote. Okay, suppose you have a valid color name. Suppose I have a valid color name red, green, blue, pink, sand. These are the, then you can use that color name directly. This is one way. The second way, you can use the hex value, HEX, hexa value. Your hexa value always precede with the hash and six digits, six characters, the combination of letters and numbers. Like don't know the color, then you can use hash FF0000. This is the hexa value. It will take that color. This is for white. Okay. Suppose FF. This is for, this is also white. This is, I think, for 6F is black. hexa value, how you will get? And the third one is RGB. This two value you will get from the color palette. You can go from the CSS gradient. Okay. This is a color shade. Suppose I need this shade. Okay. You can see here hexa value and this is the RGBA value. If you want to use RGBA, then you can put this value like RGBA, this value. If you want to use hexa value, then you can copy this and paste it. Okay. Okay. You can get the, suppose you need this lighter shade. Then you can get this and put that value. Okay. You can use always color palette for different color. Okay. Suppose you have this color, this dark color. Okay. And you have used this RGBA. RGBA is what? These three are the color code. Okay. 227, 113, 235. This last one is the opacity. Means how dark or how lighter you want. Suppose instead of hexa value, we are going to use RGBA. Okay. Suppose I am using 204. I am using randomly some value 255. Okay. This is the color I get. I need the lighter of this. Okay. Suppose this is little bit dark. Let's say I will take this color itself. This dark color. 236 to 12. 236. Okay. I need lighter. Okay. Little bit said lighter or dark, anything. Then you are using the opacity. Like suppose 0.4. Okay. It becomes lighter. Suppose you need some more lighter. 0.2. More lighter. Suppose you need more dark. Then 0.8 dark. Okay. Like this, you can play with color using the opacity. Then you might have the question that I can directly use the RGB dark color. Why you need to use the opacity? That's completely up to you. Okay. But if you want to use the opacity to a little bit darker or lighter shade, then you can use that. Okay. And very less said, this is the 0.1. Okay. If you want little bit more, 0.2. Okay. Then 0.4. This is the third way, RGBA. Okay. These are the three different way to apply the color. Understood? Any question on this? Do anyone having any question? That how to use the color palette? Now all of you clear that how to use the color palette? Or anyone having any question that till that uh, you have doubt that how to use the color palette? Okay then. This is, I have used only one color. If you want to use multiple colors, means color shade, like top from top green color, then middle yellow color, then bottom red color, like this, then you have to use linear gradient. Okay, you just go to CSS gradient, backgrounds. Okay, see, these are the different color palette. Suppose I want to use this type of shade. Okay, then you can also move it, means degree, because this is based on the degree. See, if I rotate, then the color gets changed. Suppose I need 180-degree. Okay, then copy this CSS. Once the CSS get copied, paste it. Then this linear gradient, this whole thing you copy and paste it here. Okay, I will first show the output. What happened? Acha, okay. This is on a background color, linear gradient. Okay. I use here bottom. I use the RGBA. Okay. Instead of like this, I'm going to use the RGBA. RGBA 204, 229, 5. Then RGBA. Same thing, 204, 229, then 255, but here opacity I want 0.4. What happened? Linear gradient, why it is not taking? Okay, when you are using the linear gradient, always use background. Okay, if you use background color, it will not apply. Okay, it shows the color like this. I just use that one. Which one we have copied? This one. Copy and paste it. Okay, why it is showing like this? Because it taking the repeat value. Okay, this is taking this value repeated. Then what I have to use here? Background repeat, no repeat. Okay, then it will take only that background. Then background position, center, then background attachment, text, then background horizon. Okay, okay, now you get the full complete background color, and it is a combination of multiple colors. All of you get it? How to do that? You can see this code, like what it's telling that You rotate it 180 degree, and the first color is this one, 0% white color, and this color is 50%, and this color is 100%. Okay, means white color from 0% to 50%, 49%. From 50% it will get this color, and till 100% it will get this color. All of you understand? Because most of you having the doubt in CSS units and CSS color. That's why I took a lot of time to explain this too. If you have any doubt, then ask me. No one having any doubt? Okay. Then I want to apply some more style to this body. That's like text align. Text align means in which way you want to see the text, like from left or from right or from center or justify. I am using the text align justify. Then font size. Font size I am using 1.15 EM. Okay. Taking into consideration that always remember 1 EM equal to 16 pixel. Okay. Then 1.15 equal to 16 and 0.15 percentage of 16. Okay. Then font family. Font family is what you can, here I will tell how to use the Google font. See, this is my font. Okay. I want to change this font, and I want to use some exciting font which is available in Google font. Then how to use it? Go to Google fonts. Okay. The first one, you have to open this first one and select which font you want. Whichever font you want, you can select. Okay, there are a lot of fonts are available. Suppose I want this one. Then I can click this one. From this, you want for regular size 400, 500, 600, little bit darker. Okay, suppose I want 600. Then select this style. Okay, your style gets selected. Then you have to click embed. Okay, you have to copy this link. Copy this link and paste it in HTML inside the head. Okay. Then go to the CSS and copy this font family and paste it here. Means it will apply to whole content of the web page. Now it gets changed, your font. Now whatever you will write in this web page, all will get this font. If you want to change, then you can change for that particular section or div. Else it will apply to complete web document. Understood how to use the Google font? Simply you have to go to the Google font, then you have to select which font you want for your web document, then add that link in your HTML and add the CSS rules in your CSS. Okay then. Then this H1. This is my title. There is no color. Okay, I want to change this style. Then you can individually change the style. Suppose title, that is the ID. Then I am using the hash. Suppose again I am here going to give the color. You can give RGB. Remember that if you don't want any opacity, then you can use RGB instead of RGBA. If you are using RGBA, then provide the opacity. You need how much dark, how much lighter, you can provide that. Then RGB 186, 133 and 9. Then here it color get changed. If you want to keep that same font, you can keep it. If you want to change the font, then again if you want to change the font, then here you can again override the font family. Suppose here I just change this some other font. This from the family sans. It override. If you want to keep that font, then you have to omit this line. By default, this is my font for the whole document. Whichever part you want to change, you can override that part. Okay. Then in this document, I'm going to create some simple website. Okay. Here after this, I want paragraph. Okay. Suppose you don't know what to write in the paragraph. Suppose you are designing a website and you don't have any raw data, means what to put, but you want to write something and you don't know what to write. Then there is some auto generated sentence, okay, available in web, that is known as lorem ipsum. I also don't know what is it meaning, but you can use it for your web designing. Okay, suppose I need this line. You just copy how many lines you want. Okay, these are some default text which is used for the web designing. Okay, default text. You can see that any website which provide the web templates, they're using this default text. Okay, it get that. You can copy how many lines you want. Okay, and I'm going to provide a class here, class para text. Okay, paragraph text. You can also design it according to your need. Then after this, I'm using H2 about me. Okay, and this class I am using subtitle, and ID I am using about. Okay, after this, I need two images. I just copy that image for time saving. paste it. After this, I am using one image source img one.jpg, then id about us image. Okay. Okay. Now I will show you how to apply animation on this and how to apply some more style on this. Basically, I am going to show you that how to apply animation. Okay. Basic fundamental of animation. First, we will design the subtitle. See here for this about me, my class name is subtitle. Copy dot paste. Then subtitle, suppose I want the color RGB. You can also get it from color palette. That doesn't mean that I am using this color code means you have to use the same color code. Okay, you can use some other color code. Like if you want some other color code, then go to this and any color code you want. You can get that. Suppose from here I want which color? This color. Then this is the color, not from this. Why it is not coming like this? Just wait for 1 minute. Okay. Suppose from here I need this color. Okay. Then suppose this, then I can use this value 249, 55 to 25. Then here 249, 55, 25. Okay, this color get changed. Like whichever color you want, you can use either RGB or this value. Okay, and if you want a color combination, then you can use the linear gradient. Like for that particular subtitle, if you want color combination, then you can use the linear gradient. Okay. Then again the font family, if you want to keep the same font family, then no need to write here font family. If you want to change the font family, then you can change the font family here. If you want to use the font size, suppose 1.3 EM. 1.3 EM will not get any changes. On like if you use 30 pixel, first I will show you. Okay, you can see that it becomes little larger. Okay, but again if you want to keep this font size, then no need to write here any font size. What does it mean? If you want to keep these things for all the web document, then by default it will apply this rules. If you want to change these rules, then you can override that in each particular um, element selector. Okay, then we will come to this image. Okay, for this image I want to change the height and width. Then copy this, because this is ID, that's why I put the hash symbol. Then height, suppose I am using 300 pixel, width 60%, See, okay, it gets changed. Width, it becomes 60%. 60% of the window size. Suppose you write 50%. Okay, you can see that it is exactly till the center of the your window size, whatever the window size you have. Okay, if you change your target device, then it will take the 50%. Okay, that is the use of percentage. 50% of the parent. Okay, but height, don't use height percentage, else your whole document look and feel will get changed. For height, always use pixel or view height. Suppose I am writing 30 VH. 30 VH means whatever your view window size, it will take 30 of that. Okay. But in this case, for image, always use px for height, and for width, you can use always percentage for everything. Wherever you are using width, you can use the percentage. Okay. Then in here, display flex is not needed. Okay, this is not needed. Okay, I want a border. For border, already I have told you that suppose I need 2 pixel dotted border of color. You can either write direct color or you can use the RGBA. First I will show you this color. Okay, but it not look good in the solid. Okay, and here you can use the 4 pixel. Okay, you get a border. Then you can change it according to your wish. If you want to use here RGBA color, then you can write RGBA. If you want to use the opacity, then get the color from here, which color you want. Suppose we want this color. Okay, then 221, 249, 25, 221, 49, 25 with the opacity 0.4. Okay, you get a border. Then margin. Margin. Suppose I am giving 80 pixel, 40 pixel. Yesterday itself I have told you that when you are giving two value in margin, the first value is for top and bottom, and the second value is for right and left. If you are giving one value, suppose you are giving only 40 pixel, means from each side 40 pixel. Okay, from each side 40 pixel. It is not visible for you in the right and from bottom because there is no content, but from the left you can easily visible that it is showing 40 pixel. But if you write two values, then from top and bottom 80 pixel, from you can see that it comes down when you are having, suppose here I am using 100 pixel, means from top margin 100 pixel. This is 100 pixel. Okay, and from bottom 100. Bottom 100, bottom 80 is how it is possible, means whatever content you will write after this, it will take the gap of 80 pixel. Okay. Now this image I want in the right side. By default it is in the left side. I want it in the right side. Then what I have to do? You might think that we can use align. But for this, we will not use align. Align is only used for the text. Here, I can use float. Float means in your page where you want to see this. Okay. I want in right. Then float right. Okay, it comes in right side. All of you understand, getting my points? Till this, all of you understood what I have done? Any doubt, then ask me. Just see the code for a few seconds, and if you have any doubt, then ask me. Okay, then. Okay, the last part we will see animation. Here, I want to apply animation on this. Okay. See, first of all, if you learn more about the animation, then you can W3 schools. Okay. Here you can see the complete details of what is animation and how to apply the animation. Okay. Whenever you are using the animation, some of the property you have to specify. First, let me start from the first. Here. Okay. I want to apply the animation on this. Okay. This is the ID. I will take the ID. When you apply the animation, the first thing is animation name. Okay. First I am writing like this, animation name. Animation name is nothing but which animation you want to write. After that you have to define that animation. Suppose here my animation name is red to black. Then I have to define this animation after this line. Because this is a customized animation, you have to define it. If you are using any system define any predefined animation, then no need to define it again. Then second one is animation duration, how much time it will display on the web page for 4 seconds. Here I am specifying 4 seconds, you can change it according to your wish. Then animation timing function means in which way it should display. Like here timing function you can write here, you can see here. See, animation timing function. I have used linear means same speed from start to end. Whatever speed you are specifying, it will maintain the same speed. Ease means start with a slow start, then first, then slowly. Means suppose 10-second animation and you have used ease. Then it will start slowly. Then in the middle it will becomes very fast. Then while ending it again got slowly. Is in, specify animation with a slow start. Is out, slow end. Is in out, slow start and end. Okay, like these are the different property of animation timing function. You can specify any of the property. Then Animation iteration. Okay, iteration count. How many times it will iterate? Infinite, 1, 2, 3, 4. It also there. See, animation iteration count. Okay, number of times an animation should run. Then animation direction. Okay. Animation delay means how much time you want that after that animation will start. Okay. Animation direction, alternate, reverse. This is also available here. You can see that animation direction. Okay. Normal, normal, forward, reverse, it start from backward. Alternate, first one, suppose you have two count. The first one will be forward, then second one will be backward. Alternate reverse means first backward, then forward. Suppose you have animation iteration count 3. The first one is start from end, second one start from first, third one start from end. Okay. This is the animation I have defined. Then I have to define this animation. This is my animation name. To define one animation, you are using @keyframes. Then your animation name. See here. Keyframe. See, keyframe. @keyframe. Okay. Then your animation name. Then these are the property. What you want to apply in animation. That depends on you what you want. But these are the percentage. And you can also segregate like starting from 0%, ending with 100%. In between that, you can specify any number of percent like 0%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25% like this. What does it mean? From 0% till 24%, it will take this property. Once it reaches 25%, it will take this property till 49%. Once it is 50%, it will take this property like this till 100%. If you want only one, then you can write 0%, 100%. Okay. If you want multiple property, then multiple times you can divide it. Okay. Like here, I'm going to use 0% background red and transform, translate 0 pixel, 0 pixel. Yesterday itself I have shown you that what is the use of transform, translate. Okay. Then copy, paste. Like I am using three values 0, 50%, 100%. Again, this is on you how much value, how in which way you want to apply. Okay. And once it yellow, I want translate it to 10, 10 means from X coordinate it will move 10 pixel and from Y coordinate it will move 10 pixel. Okay. And this last one I want in black color. And here I translate to 20, 20. Let's see. Okay. Two times. You can see that it start from once I load, it start from backward means end. Okay. From end it is going to beginning. Then from beginning it is coming to end. Because end I have applied black color. Black, then yellow, then red. Then red, yellow and black. Why this is? Because I have used alternate reverse and count 2. That's why it is only doing 2 times. 4 second. Duration is 4 second. In 4 second, it will complete it. If you want more seconds, suppose for 15 second, then the whole animation will continue till 15 second. Okay. Okay. The last thing, instead of writing like this, you can write it in one line. Okay. Like different line, instead of writing like this, you can write WebKit. WebKit is for Google Chrome. Okay. WebKit animation. Then the animation name, red to black. Then number of second. Then in timing function. Then your iteration count or delay. I don't want any delay. Then iteration count. Then your animation duration. Okay. This complete thing you can copy. The second one is for Mozilla. MOZ. Then for MS, actually for MS, no need to write this. Default one is MS, means default one is Internet Explorer. If you write only this animation, it will work for Internet Explorer. Okay. And last one is for, okay. This is all about today's class. All of you understand the basic of animation? Or do you have any doubt on this? Ask me. ये देखो, ये देखो. All of you understand? Okay then. I will share the code and PPT with you. And the PPT contains the complete CSS document, like everything. You can go through this PPT to get the complete idea about the CSS. Okay. Then see you in tomorrow class. And tomorrow we will see some more JavaScript and HTML elements and some more property of the animation and transition. And tomorrow we will see canvas and SVG, means how to draw lines, rectangles, circles on the web document. Okay. Okay, bye. See you tomorrow.